Hi, my name is Theodore Cottingham, and I have a school, and I encourage you to see my teaching, my leading as a school of leadership to lead you into schooling you how to become the leader you really are. The Creator is being created again of all creation. You may think that's an anomaly, but I suggest to you that we are no longer looking to God to save us, to heal us, to be our soon coming King, to be raptured in His glory, His arms. We're no longer putting on His armor. We are no longer fighting. We are no longer fighting the good fight of faith or any fight of faith or any fight at all because we're beginning to know our power. And when you begin to know your power, if you continue to develop it in humility, learning your power, how to use your power, how to be your power, so that your power is not using you to do something someone else wants or thinks is remarkable, cool, commendable. Motive is all important. And we're coming into the knowledge of God. Because God is not prohibiting the knowledge of God from us who think we're separate. The delight of God, God of love, light, and joy, is for us to be its creator and create us again with love, light, and peace in our veins, generosity, kindness, a different methodology, a different system of life, no longer limited to the molecule. The Creator creates creators. The Creator is being created again. For us to understand, develop, and mature to be who we really are, we must learn how to think mutually exclusive thoughts sometime that are not opposite at all, and that we learn to hold them, analyze them, and consider them. Let our mind work on them while we sleep, while we talk, while we exhibit a form of humility where we intend to communicate with others, collaborate. There's a term for you. Are we willing to collaborate with each other? Are we willing to combine in teams, in classes, cohorts? Are you willing to be a dream team? Are you willing to see another view? Are you willing to expand your thinking? Are you willing to expand your comprehension? Are you willing to expand your vocabulary? Are you willing to learn how to surrender? Surrender? To be more powerful? To be more lovely? To be more loving? To be more generous? To heal people? Do you want to? Are you willing to? Are you willing to no more be mad at God? Mad at the world? Mad at the political situation or whatever situation enrages you, inflames you, keeps you in turmoil? Are you willing to rise above that? Are you willing to forgive? Are you willing to have no active motivation in you that prohibits you from being who you really are? Anger and unforgiveness are forces that affect you. And they're very common and they're very infectious. Many feelings, thoughts, beliefs are like viruses. They spread. They're contagious. They're infectious. And they do deleterious things. But you don't have to succumb to their power because you have authority. You have authority and you have power. You realize they're not the same. I think I remember one of the first examples of the difference between power and authority was a policeman directing traffic at an intersection. Blows his whistle, holds up his hand for the traffic to stop. Big semi-truck coming toward him. He does not have the power to stop that truck if that truck wants to keep going. But he has the authority. He has the authority to command that truck to stop. And in his authority, he exercises his power. So many people want to exercise their power without any authority over you at all. And they hone their ability to achieve that power in devious ways, insidious ways, surreptitious ways, in ways to get into your pocket, into your mind, into your body, into your life force, into your creativity. So many people just want to use people for their own selfish gain, what they can get from them. Use them up like a paper towel and throw them away. Love does not do that. I preach love. I teach love. And I teach love to mature. This is what I'm about. I'm about letting you know the difference between love and love, between common love, between common, normal love, between religious love, between love of the world for each other, love for this world, love for God, and what I call love. And I'm differentiating a love that I know from all of what we have known as love and what we call love. Most love we think about, feel, and experience is, I suggest to you, soulish. It's about the soul. It's about our makeup. Where our feelings, our responses, our reactions are primarily governed by a markup language, HTML. How is DNA coded into us? RPG, COBOL, BASIC, Python. You see, why is all of this energy all around us? Why is energy a wave or a particle or matter, a wave or particle? What is God? Who is God? Why have we thought so long that God is good and that God is love? I suggest we haven't known better. We've been taught not to ask questions. We've been taught not to advance our knowledge. Those in authority don't want you to have the knowledge of God. They want to control it. And there are exceptions. I just may not know of any, but I'm hopeful there are exceptions. Commonly, the people that teach love, teach about God, they operate as the authority to teach you. But part of the problem is it's very common, it's inherent almost in every teacher, not every teacher, but every religious teacher maybe, to teach you. Teach and enjoy. Be enthusiastic, motivated. Have the motive of impartation, teaching you all they know, yet limit you to what they know. And therein is one of the primary problems, challenges, barriers. And if you stay with a person very long, they teach the same thing over and over and over. Because there's no creative flow. It's like they master. They come to a certain plateau of knowledge, and they teach that. And I understand that. That's normal, natural. That's what's programmed into us. But that's not who we are. We are not from this energy field that we call Earth. Our origination did not take place here. If you can see it, I suggest you, even Jesus said, at least the words are in red, John 17. Jesus said, I am not from this world, and neither are you. This is a world of limitation. This is a world embracing hierarchy, permeated with thoughts to control each other. And I'm about freedom. I want you to know more than I know. I want you to experience more love than I have. I want you to walk in your power. Your power, not based in love. I want your power and your love to be it, one single unit that is not symbiotic, but homogeneous. It becomes one essence. It's not you anymore embracing your God. It's no longer you believing that God is separate to bless you. There is a division that has to die out. The dividing line between God and you must come down. The fence that says you must honor God. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of an angry God. My friend, that is not love. There is no brutality in love. None. Absolutely none, none, none. There is no brutality. There's no condemnation in love. Consider the prodigal son, the story of the prodigal son. When the prodigal son took his inheritance, you see, it's a story. It doesn't matter if the story actually happened. The power's in the story. The story. There's a story. I'll digress. I'll tell a story I love. You can find it on the internet easily, and there are many variations of it. It's become legendary, so who knows when, where. Here's the story. The Queen is having a state dinner with diplomats and invited guests, supposedly world leaders everywhere, but they have one special honored guest that the Queen is honoring. The honored guest does not know all the customs, all the manners of how people operate at the Queen's table. So they enjoy the sumptuous banquet meal. And the story goes, at the end of the meal, those serving bring little bowls of water. You may know the story. When they bring a little water bowl to every person. The guest of honor doesn't know what to do with it. But it's the guest of honor, and everyone waits on the guest of honor to go first. Part of their way of honoring the guest of honor. It's a finger bowl. It's a finger bowl at the end of the meal. They would put their fingers in it to wash their hands. And that would be the final act of the meal, or so I understand. So you see what it was for. The guest of honor didn't know what to do with it. So finally, when the guest of honor realized everybody at the table was waiting on him, he decided he had to do something and he didn't know what else to do. So he drank it. He picked up the bowl and drank it, the finger bowl. So everyone at the table waits and see what is the queen going to do? The queen picked up her finger bowl and drank it just like her guest of honor. To not embarrass. And so every single person at the table picked up their finger bowl, and probably for the first time ever, they drank the bowl. The way of honor. This is an act of love. There is love. There is respect for each other is inherent and inextricable from love. And if you say you love everyone, but you don't love this little group over here, they're the wrong color. They're the wrong language. They're from the wrong country. They have the wrong name for God. My friend, if you don't love them just as much as you love your next door neighbor, the people in your community, your neighborhood, you have a lot to learn. But you can learn it. You can learn to love. You can learn to forgive because you have the power, because of who you are. It comes back, you see, to who you are, what your identity is. And my friend, any essence of any authoritarian, superior or not, power that says, thou shalt serve me and only me, it's not love. That's not the love that I know, the love that I met, the love that I have been teaching about for years now. Love never created a hell. Even the idea, first commandment, have no other God before you. I am God. You do what I say. You live by my commandments. You don't desecrate my name. You don't even desecrate my name. Desecrate my name, I'll hold you in hellfire, contempt of my court. And it's a fearful thing to fall into my hands. Buddy, that is not love. If you want to define it as love, you can do so your way, because in the end, you are the creator, you are the judge, you are the jury, you are the prosecutor, you are the defendant. You are the one who originally created all that exists. Far-fetched. Yeah. When you begin to realize who you are what your pedigree is, what your true lineage is. You don't need faith, anti-faith. Faith? Faith to believe something? No, I suggest the response as we begin to learn who we are is surrender. The most powerful thing you can do is surrender. Surrender not to another authority, surrender to your own authority, surrender to who you actually are. This is who we're coming in to be, a people that begin to work together. We begin to study together. We begin to write. We begin to read each other's channeling. Channeling of what? Channeling of love. We begin to understand how love teaches and how love creates. Love creates creators to create creation. And this creation, this world that we know, is being created all over again, and it begins with you and me. So the idea that most of us have grown up with, the idea of our origination. So many of us think of some holy book. For me, Genesis 1, in the beginning, God. So in the first verse, I'm separate from whatever the beginning was. That's what I've been taught. That's what was inculcated into me. Have no other gods before me. And make no image of me, because I'm me. And I'm a jealous God. Friend, there is no jealousy in love. There is no jealousy in love. Love is not jealous. Love loves. Limit you? Why would I limit you? Oh, I don't want you touching another man, another woman. Oh, you looked at them. You flirted. They gave you the eye and you gave them the eye back. What? Wait a minute. We're not under each other's authority. And there will be many millions who disavow their vows to only love one person, because love is unrestrictable. True love. So the way that we love each other is beginning to change. Our love is beginning to mature. And it requires maturity. Not just a desire to get a good grade, to finish the course, to get a degree, to work for somebody else, to start your own business, make money, make more money, but it's never enough. The mind is programmed to be insatiable. The DNA of man is inherently, innately insatiable. The grass is always greener on the other side. You see, there's the ideal marriage, there's the ideal relationship, the ideal God, the ideal purpose of our life. There's all these ideals because somewhere in the artifacts of our essence, we lived, operated in an unrestricted world, universe, cosmos. And we created, and we loved each other. We loved each other, and we didn't reproduce flesh because we were not limited to flesh, and we could create. So it's up to us to decide now whether we're going to mature or not. Whether we believe Genesis 1:1, whether we believe Genesis, whether we believe the commandments in Exodus 20 are in fact commanded of us to have eternal life, to go to heaven. I suggest to you it's a carrot and stick. I suggest to you that you are the creator. So how do you teach someone to recreate themselves who doesn't think they have the ability to recreate themselves? They think it's impossible. You think it's impossible to recreate you? We have an example. One. Only one that exists that I know anything about. In all of history, I suggest to you Jesus became the firstborn of many. And this is what born again, unless a person becomes born again, this is what that phrase means. Coming into your own creatorship again for you to recreate you, because you were the creator and now you're realizing it. So you're beginning, if you're willing to operate in your authority. But the only way love actually works is with the right motive, the motive of love. Inextricable. I don't know a better word. That's why I use it so often. Inextricable to love is humility, kindness, gentleness. Love is not impatient. Love is not jealous. Love is creative. Love learns to learn a new way and begins to experience a new system, methodology of education, so that we are not limited to the 12 grades or the system of education that we have had in the past. This is what the new and everlasting covenant actually is, where love said, you need not any man to teach you. I will come and teach you. I will come and write my laws on your heart. Well, don't get hung up on the wording. See the love. I will come and write my precepts, the principles of the kingdom of heaven. I will write them on your heart internally. How do I write them on your heart? It's words conveying communication within you. If you don't free the communication within you, you're limited to the five-sense mind. You're limited to all the five-sense mind creations and all the commentaries. And my friend, we're coming out. We're a people of destiny. So in considering that, think about, let's look to Jesus again, at least the stories that we have. So as the story goes, 12 disciples. But out of the 12, 3 were closer to him. And of those 3, 2 were closer. and one was closest. So it's up to you to judge, for you to decide, for you to investigate and explore, because you're going to make the decision anyway, for you. No one else will make this decision for you. Who chose being the three, the two, the one? They did. They chose. You choose. Do you want to know about God? You want to know all about God? You want to know all about the precepts? You want to know all about heaven, hell, angels, demons? You want to follow all the commentaries? Do you still want to be under the authority of teachers that teach you limited to their 5 sense mind? Or do you want to let the operation of love flow through you and teach you directly? This is the moment. This is the message. This is the decision we all face. I lead a nation of lovers. A nation. But that may pose a dilemma. You think I'm speaking first person or third person? Am I attracting people to my flesh? You see, you have to decide, but you're going to decide that anyway. What is my motive? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you think? What do you feel? What's happening inside you? How is the energy affecting you when I speak to you and speak about your authority and your freedom? And you must exercise your freedom. And the only way you can exercise your freedom, you have to know you have some authority. You begin to consider and you begin to choose whether you want to know and whether you want to be. What do you want to become? What do you want to be doing? John 14:12, Jesus said, if you believe in me, you will do the works that I do and greater. Right? Jesus said, if you believe in me, you'll never die. Jesus said, don't think I came to bring peace, but a sword. What kind of sword? Not one of metal, but of truth. And my friend, the truth will not make you free. See, there's so many misunderstandings because people have been inundated with the message of faith and that God's word is in a book. My friend, God's word is not in a book. The way that is taught is so damning. The kingdom of God is within you. Love is a flow. The knowledge of God seeds the knowledge of God. The knowledge of God. The love of God waters the seed of the knowledge for it to grow. And it grows. In your garden, Garden of Eden, Garden of Creation, the tree of life. I suggest to you, that's analogous, that's saying your neuronal structure, your neurons, your tree of life is between your ears. And at this very moment, at every given moment, you're the light of the world. And those lights, those intersections of energy are continually connecting, billions of them, to create and decreate, to learn and unlearn, to fear and overcome fear, to see a new picture colors you've never seen, words you've never heard, feelings you've never had coming about for you to recreate you in the power of the resurrection. Laying aside the fellowship of the sufferings. There will be some suffering. It can be agonizing to come out of complacency. It can be agonizing to come out of ignorance and suddenly realize who your parents are. They're not who you thought. Parents, flesh. Wait a minute. Let's go beyond that. You're beginning to learn you didn't just originate with who your parents are. You existed before the world began. Mm-hmm. And God created you? Or did God create man? Or did God create man and woman? Did God create gender? If you think God took a rib from a man to make a woman, and that woman should be under man, you have a lot to learn. But you can learn it. But see, so many things, you can take my word for it. At least take my word for it to begin to consider it, begin to explore it, because you are the decision maker, and it's your authority for you that matters. You begin to walk in your authority. If you're not willing to walk in your authority, you'll always be subject to, there's a lion in the street. And the fear of the Lord will cause you to be timid, frail, be a spectator, a beggar. I'm calling people out of the pew. I'm calling people out of church. I'm calling people out of authority. I'm calling people out from being under the authority of people who say they have authority over you. You grow up. It's time to grow up. It is not sacrilege to question what we have considered divinity. The whole idea of heresy and blasphemy, they're just tools to keep you in line. Why do I say these things? Because I've experienced love. I have laid with love. I have known love because love came and slept with me. Love came and talked to me. Love became intimate. Love entered me to commune with me as I was willing and humble as a child to come and woo love. If you want to know love, it's a love relationship. It's a romance transcendent of your five sense mind, not limited to touch. And when you begin to woo love, court love, bring love a rose. How do you bring love a rose? You'll have the idea. Do something you haven't done before. Set your alarm at 2 a.m. Get up and have a rose waiting. And by the intent of your heart, without the necessity to even speak words. It's not that you have the right language, the right wording. It's your heart. You have a rose in a vase. You have crackers. You have a glass of milk or water or Pepsi, coffee. You have a chocolate chip cookie. And at 2 a.m. you get up. I've knelt down many times. taken my cookie, my cracker, and broken it as a symbol of me laying down my life, laying down my arrogance, laying down all of my certainty, laying down my quest for predictability. I've done it. And then I would drink my Dr. Pepper or whatever I had. Again, as a symbol. My blood. Life is in the blood. This red liquid. Life of the essence of the real is in your intent, your motive. It goes to the very core. And in my mind, I would drink. This is my body. Because I'm not holding it separate. And remember, for what it's worth, people would bring water to the sacrifice. To the priest could drink it, the priest could pour it on the sacrifice, or the priest could pour it on the ground. And it didn't make any difference. They just brought the water. You see, you're the creator. And when you realize your power, it's awesome. It's pretty awesome to begin to know your power. The extent of creation and your ability to create. And you begin to realize your authority. And you can begin to use that authority to control or to set free. You first. You will begin to set you free increasingly. And if you begin to set you free increasingly, you will begin to free those around you increasingly. And the things, so many things, so many feelings, so many actions will no longer weigh you down. They won't weigh you down. The weights that beset us so easily, the annoyances. There's so many things that we've been so ignorant about. I suggest to you, we're coming into the knowledge of God. The knowledge of God to be God. The knowledge of God to be God before God wanted to control everything. Many iterations of the lineage of creation. And you're the creator. And that which wants to keep you here and you to serve it is not the love I teach. I teach the love of freedom, the freedom of love, generosity, kindness, peace, not evolution, not devolution. But surrendering to be who you really are. No longer wearing the crown of life that limits you to the set of neurons. No longer limited to your 5 sense mind. No longer limited to some preacher, priest, or any authority saying they have authority over you and how you should act, what you should do with your body, how long your skirt should be or whether you should wear pants or not. What you should dress like. Go naked in the street. If you're aghast, go look up Isaiah. Did he go naked? 3 years? Oh, come on. You're no longer limited to your 5 sense mind. This is the message. Because you have, get this, an angelic mind. Your true mind is an angel mind. It's an angelic mind. I'm defining that for you now. One that is not limited in scope, fashion, or form by your 5 sense mind. It's a mind, amorphous and corporeal. Intangible, it's the mind of your spirit, the essence of your core. And it's connected to all the other angels. When you begin to understand the fathomless love, you begin to see into the unknowable mystery of Christ. This is all about learning to do what Jesus did and more. And that's why I wrote Jesus the pattern. Not the Redeemer, not the soon-coming King, not the one that you accept as vicarious atonement, propitiation for sins. No. He was the first of a new race. And now this race is coming into being, a race of light people. Light people not limited to flesh. Outlandish? Yeah. Ludicrous? Maybe. Heresy? Probably. Sacrilege? Could be. And yet it might be the delight of love. The delight of love. The delight of love. Saying, finally, somebody gets it. Somebody's willing to stand in the gap. What gap? The gap between heaven and hell? And begin to realize that you are the creator of that gap. If that gap exists, it's because you think it's there. And if you think it's there, you're creating it. And if you think it's there and you create it and you think it's there, you honor it. You bow down before it. You create it. It couldn't be any more real to you. You're the creator. Decreate the gap. Stand in the gap, live in the gap. Fly in the gap. Be a gap stander. Be an individual who realizes your power, that your first estate was an angelic being. We are the angels who fell. Fell. What a term. We fell. The angels who fell from heaven. We fell, I suggest to you, into our own creation because we created us. We created us. And then over time and iterations, the idea of control and authority over others began to set in and turned heaven, all of this world, heaven, this was heaven. This was perfect. And we turned it into hell. We created the gap. We thought we were separate. We started limiting each other. We learned how to condemn each other and be brutal to each other and even kill each other. But the power of those guns, bombs, and bullets do not have authority over you. They may have a power of velocity. But remember the policeman's story at the beginning that I spoke of, directing traffic, the difference between power and authority. That metal bullet may have a velocity with a certain supposed authority in this magnetic world, but it does not have authority over you because you are not magnetic. Love is not magnetic. Synthetic love is magnetic. Synthetic love is soulish love. The chakras, it's feel good. It's exciting. It's tingly. It can be climactic. Lovely. But true love is no longer fathomless. It's no longer a perfection unattainable, unknowable about. It's for all of us, common people. Jesus was the first commoner. I suggest to you he was common as the day is long, whether you want to think he had a virgin birth or not, whether that's true or not, whether it's true or not, does not defeat the analogy. He was the first of many to learn to walk on water. He turned water into wine. He fed the 5,000. Are you willing to feed those in famine? Do you realize there's about supposedly over 8 billion people on the earth now? Do you realize it's estimated that 1/4 of the world's population, 2 billion people, don't have enough to eat? 2 billion people? Don't you care? Does it matter? Matters to me. And this is why I make these recordings, for us to know who we are. And that's why I'm willing to stand in the gap, whatever that means, however I do it. To be humble enough to lead. Many times, for years, as all of this wisdom began to flow through me, Many times I said, God, you've got the wrong guy. I'm not the one. I'm not the leader. You've got the wrong guy. I didn't choose. I didn't quest after leadership. My quest was to know God, but my motive was to know love. And my motive to know love began to emerge increasingly. So whereas a lot of words that flowed through me seemed to corroborate the separation of us and God, love heard me. In times of pain or joy, love began to hear me, and love began to come. And love began to speak ever so softly within my mind. And I was willing to write. And this is why I exist. This is why I have a school. This is why I preach leadership. Because it requires initiative. It requires courage. It's not que sera, sera. Wait here until we die. And then think Santa Claus will give us what we want. We'll get into heaven and it'll all be hunky-dory. No, my friend, you're a leader. All of us are leaders. And we're coming in to the knowledge of God and the leadership of love that frees that love to create and create the creator that creates us anew, because we're it. And it's intimate. It's more intimate than imaginable. At first, until eventually, the artifacts of your separation quit retaining control of that perception, and you begin to not just comprehend the knowledge and not just feel, but there's something where you begin to actually form that oneness, where you become the one. And you are no longer separate from what we thought was God of love so long ago. When you're ready, love appears. How will love appear to you? With a thought. Will love bring a hammer? Will love bring its list of commands and demands? When you begin to know love that I'm talking about, and it comes, it bows before you. Love is the most humble of all existence, of every force. The most powerful is the most humble, and it's in humility that love leads. Love will guide. Love will caress. Love will salve. and heal the wounds and begin to give you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of creation to create you so that you're not worried about trivialities. You're not worried about pre, post, tribulation, rapture, and all these things. You begin to love, and you begin to woo love, and love begins to woo you. And you have times and moments where your tears can actually drop off of you, the sides of your face onto your paper where you're writing the words of love. Intimacy. Intimacy. The intimacy of love transcendent. This is what I teach. This is what I offer you. The only way I know how at this moment. Love transcendent. This love I speak of, I speak to you. Not for you to have it, but for you to become it. You become it. It and you become one. There's no longer you, the vessel that God inhabits. There's no longer any separation. There's no longer a soon-coming king. There's no longer compliance with the demands. It's relaxing into the revelation that you are who you are. You are the creator with the ability to create you again. And this is what I share. I love you. I hope this is meaningful to you. Be tender with you. Let not your heart be troubled. Let not your self-talk. Let not your inner accuser damn you. Let not the perception of separation keep you separate any longer. Walk in your authority this day to create the real you and help each other's wings grow so that when you come in contact with other people, the grocery store clerk, the people at the gas station, the people you work with, the people in your community, the people in your class in school, generate love because you're the creator of it. You choose. Love each other. And at some point, you may want to teach what you are learning. You may want to teach what you are experiencing the love of. I encourage you to do so. I have many words about many people beginning in many parts of the world and all over the world, fellowships of one, to study these words of love, to generate love, to create love, for you to recreate you and be the new creation the world has been waiting for. And create. You can write me. I invite you. You can tell me what you think. You can ask questions. I may answer. You can send me an email, Theodore Eureka @gmail.com. I invite you to. If this has meant anything to you, if my teaching about meonics means anything, If you want to be a part of the school, check out the website. Pardon me, TheodoreCottingham.com. Explore. Search. Begin the adventure now that never ends, because love will never cap your learning. Never. Love is a flow. And the knowledge of love is a flow to create the creator that's you, to create the one you always were before you thought you were separate. I love you. Healed be in your love, and let your love heal all around you. You're powerful, lovely, and you are loved. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your love. Thank you for caring for these words and learning to flow yours and woo, love, and be intimate and create that which satisfies, laying aside all the things that compel you to be insatiable. Be true to the real you. Thank you. Good day.